Adjectiva tertiae declinationes. First, a review of the adjectives we've done so far, which we refer to as belonging to declinationes prima et secunda. Exempli gratia, bonus, bona, bonum, or pulcher, pulchra, pulchrum. We can identify these because of this pattern, us a or a giving us the masculine, feminine, and neuter forms. And the reason why we call them first and second declension adjectives is because the declension will change based on the gender they need to be. If the word that we're describing is masculine, we're going to use second declension masculine endings on this. Pastor bonus, good shepherd. Pastores boni, pastori bono, etc. Notice that even though this noun pastor is third declension, pastor, pastores, pastori, the adjective follows the second declension masculine because all that it cares about is the gender of that noun. If we're describing a feminine noun, we'll use first declension endings. Ovis bona, ovis bonai, oi bonai, om bonam, etc. Notice again, ovis is the third declension noun, ovis, ovis, oi, om. But because it's feminine, our adjective will match it using the first declension endings. A, I, etc. With these adjectives, if we're describing a neuter noun, we'll use second declension neuter. Nomen bonum, the good name. Nominis boni, of the good name. Nomini bono, to or for the good name, etc. Again, nomen is a third declension noun. Nomen, nominis, nomini. But our adjective only cares about its gender, that it's neuter. So it uses second neuter endings. I, o, etc. With adjectiva declinationes tertiae, or third declension adjectives, instead of shifting between different forms of the first and second declension to match our nouns and gender, we'll use the third declension. And we'll be able to recognize these because they look different. Exempli gratia, tenuis, tenue, thin. Brevis, breve, short. Levis, leve, light, as opposed to heavy. Notice the pattern here. The first form will have is, and the second form will have e. They will always use third declension endings, and for our purposes in this class, we'll always treat them as third declension ium. There are some third declension adjectives which do not use ium endings, but for the purposes of this class, if it's a third declension adjective, we'll use ium endings on it. Either the third declension masculine and feminine ium for a masculine noun or a feminine noun, and the third declension neuter ium for neuter nouns. Now, how are we going to form these? Notice with these two forms here, you're not given three like we had before, bonus, bona, bonum, a masculine, a feminine, and a neuter form. Instead, what we have is we have the masculine, feminine, nominative singular, and we have the neuter nominative singular. So we'll see some examples in a minute, but when we start out with the masculine or feminine noun, the first form will end with this is, and with the neuter, it'll end with the e. So let's look at a masculine example. Gladius brevis, the short sword. Even though this noun is second declension masculine, the adjective doesn't care about its declension, it only cares about its gender. Since it's masculine and brevis is a third declension adjective, we'll use third masculine feminine ium endings on it. Brevis, brevis, brevi, brevem, brevi, or breve. Breves, brevium, brevibus, breves, brevibus. And gladius just goes along and does its own thing, using the second declension masculine. But you'll notice there that after that masculine nominative form brevis, we then just start applying third declension ium masculine feminine endings. So the genitive will actually look the same here. Because remember, a third declension of any variety, you can't predict the nominative, but then the genitive always has this short is. So is, em, e or e for the iums, es ium, ibus, es ibus. Now a feminine example, hasta gravis, the heavy spear. Again, hasta is a first declension feminine noun, so it'll go and do its own thing here with the first declension endings, a, I, arum, is, as, is. But our third declension adjective, gravis, heavy, doesn't care about its declension. It only cares about the gender, in this case feminine. So we know that we'll need to use third declension masculine, feminine, ium endings on it. Now again, we start with gravis, because that's our masculine and feminine nominative singular. And then we just start switching it out for our third declension masculine feminine ium ending. So is, e, es, ium, ibus, es, ibus. So the forms of these adjectives will look the same for masculine or feminine nouns. Just like with our third declension, there's no distinction between masculine and feminine endings. Now a neuter example, so it'll look a bit different. Again, pilum is a second declension neuter noun, so it'll just go along and do its own thing. I, o, a, orum, is, a, is. Our adjective lewe, light, this is the light javelin. Our adjective does not care about the declension of the noun, it only cares about its gender. In this case, pilum is neuter. And so we will use third declension neuter ium endings, starting with lewe, using that second form with the short e at the end to start off our neuter. And then we continue from there using our third declension neuter ium endings. So is, e, and then remember the accusative will always be the same as the nominative. So pilum lewe, the light javelin, will be the same in the nominative and the accusative cases. And then e, in the plural, ia instead of es, pila lewia, the light javelins, ium, ibus, ia, ibus, again following that neuter rule where the nominative and the accusative are the same.